Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. Every once in a while, I'll talk about something else crafty. Today, it is not so much a jump off from something else crafty, but it is another craft that I will combine with cross stitch at some point, and I figured I'd just introduce what I've found so far, and then down the road you'll see some more of that. So basically you are going to see mostly all cross stitch today. If you are new to my channel, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I know you have so many choices out there, and the fact that you chose to give me a try, I really appreciate. I hope you like what you see. I hope you press like, subscribe, come back, hang out with me, and stitch with me, and do all the good stuff. And I want to hear from you, and I want to hear about you, so tell me more. And if you are a returning viewer, you know I love you all. You are my stitchy friends, and you're very near and dear to me. So thank you so much for coming back every week or every other week or however. I know life is getting busier as spring is springing into summer soon. And I appreciate your visits and just all your support. Thank you so much. I'm forever grateful that I pressed play that very first time and became part of this Flosstube community. So thank you for being here with me. All right, now, you know that I have recently started a new, I'm a little flustered. I was trying to get Connor, it rotates every day, so from week to week it's different, but this week it was a later day for him, and I told him you need to get out by a certain time so I could start taping. And of course, he's my late kid. Well, both my kids are late. I'm always 5 minutes early, everywhere. I drive the rest of my family nuts sometimes, and the rest of them are a little bit more slow going. So I was pushing him out the door and then throwing everything down to get this started. But what I was saying was that I had started something new to try to support all of the fellow Flosstubers who watch me and hang out with me and chat with me, and I'll do all the good things. So every week I've been trying to highlight one. And this week I'd like to highlight Janny. Hi Janny from Evergreen Stitchers. Evergreen Stitcher. Sorry about that. I'm looking at my notes and the 5 from May looks like an S, so I was giving you extra stitching people with you. Jenny has been stitching or floss tubing, I should say, for a year. She recently had an anniversary. She puts out a video. She's got 13. I checked this morning, so it's about like one a month or so. And I know some of you had always mentioned you think you'd like to do one, but you're not sure. And I know Janny was in that boat, and she just gave it a try, and I think she enjoys it. It seems like it. And I'm really glad she did, because I really like seeing her stitching, and she seems like a lovely person. So if you'd like to check out, she stitches a little bit of everything. She just finished, she's been working on the new series from Country Cottage. Are those the ones? No, it's a different Country Cottage, I think. I don't know, it's Country Cottage, it's beautiful. She just finished it. She does some imaginatings. She does a whole set of variety of things. I'm thought of her today because she is going to start one of the stitches I'm starting next week. So you get to see a little bit of everything from her. If you want to check her out, she will be linked down below. All right. What do I have? I have no finishes. Nothing is that close to being at a finish. And Mother Nature, I swear it felt like it's rained for the last 57 days. It's not rained that much. But from the weekend through Wednesday, it did nothing but rain, and Mother Nature said, yeah, it's going to be dreary and your arthritis is going to kick up. So I did the best I could. Yesterday, the sun finally came out, and we've got some this morning. So I'm hoping that we'll feel pretty good for a little bit before the unsettled weather comes back and things kick up again. So well, it wasn't even close. I didn't get to the point where I am close to a finish. So we just have a lot of works in progress. But of course, because it's May, I did have a new start. I am either doing 1 or 2 new starts a week. This week, I only had 1 new start. Next week, I know for a fact it'll be at least 1. That's all I have planned at the moment. So we'll see from there. It's a surprise. It keeps you coming back each week. You don't know what I'm going to do. All right, so let's start with some stitching here. My first work in progress is from Satsuma Street. Good morning. I always loved this rooster. I don't know, I was drawn to it. And it's not colors that I would necessarily say, oh, I have to have those. But I just thought he was cute. And I always visualized him on this kind of color fabric, which then also kind of changes sometimes how you see the colors, which is always nice. This is 18 count Friendship Green from Fabrics by Stephanie. If you are brand new, you'll notice a trend. Everything you're going to see is 18 count Aida. Just what I like to do. Of course, obviously things can be switched to anything else that you like. This just happens to be one way that you'll see it. I also pretty much change everything to DMC. I don't rarely use variegated flosses. Not that I don't like them, DMC is cheaper. I can buy more fabric that way. And I certainly have not delved into the silk. Somebody asked last week about Yonder. It's charted in silks. Nope. It was all DMC for me, and I love it. So go for it if you want to just do DMC. All right, so this is where I am with the rooster. I decided to tackle some of the ground part of him, which is really kind of easy because each one of these, it's the same design, just flipped over back and forth. So that kind of went fast. But as I was doing that, if there was a color that showed up with him here, I would also stitch that. And then I felt like doing a little bit of the blue because I just wanted a fun bright blue in the mix. So I did that as well. So that's where we are with the rooster. So he still obviously needs his head. And then I have to finish the bottom, which is almost done, but then there are some plant-like things at the bottom there. So this will take me a few more stitching sessions, I think, but he's getting close. He's getting close to being done. I feel so tall. So the bench that I'm on, it's kind of like a little bench in the kitchen area. I don't know if it's just not, my back doesn't really like it. And usually after a video, my neck gets all kind of kinked up and really sore. So I'm trying sitting on a pillow, so I feel so much taller than I normally am. So we'll see. That's what happens when you're short. Everything makes you feel taller. All right, the next one, Country Cottage Needleworks. This is the May Cottage. These, as I said, I keep track of what I stitch each day, and I sometimes write a little note. And I said to myself, if I do not pick these up and get them done, they will never get done. And I've been stitching these for my mom as a set, so I figured I better hop to it. So that's where I got. This is done on the back side of an 18 count vintage country Mocha. And I finished the house, so the house is all done. I think I finished off the clouds, and then we did the little fence and the little birdhouse, and I started the tree. So I still have, all the tree and some fence, and then another big tree and fencing, and then the whole bottom. In between here, I think there are what's supposed to be bees. If you've been with me a while, you know, and if you're new, I have a tendency sometimes to pull out things. I like a little bit more of a minimalist look. So I probably will not stitch those. This one needs a flower, but otherwise this top is what the bottom is going to look like. Because sometimes I find like it's just a little too much. So that's where that's going. This one is, some of them go fast, and this one is not difficult. I just happen to be dragging my feet a little bit on it. I'm getting the monthly stitch fatigue, where sometimes you're kind of like, okay, I need a break from these. And if it was for myself, I probably would have put them away for now. But because I'd like to, have most of them finished, they won't all be finished at once. It would be at least Christmas at this point if I waited till that. But I would like at least as much possible done. If I give them to my mom, her birthday's in June. So maybe that's my goal this year. We'll see. So moving on. The next one is from Vintage Needlearts, and it's Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moo. Now, this poor cow. Originally, I was not going to stitch this week. And before I forget, oh no, I'll do it afterwards. I was not going to stitch this week, but So I have all my stitching in a bag. I put it, after the video, I put everything away, put it in a little bag, and then I can flip through to see what I want to stitch. So each day I start the day and I have no plan usually, unless I'd only spent a little time on something and I want to give it some more time the next day. So I go through and I flip through the bag and, you know, I look and see what I want to stitch. So I finally pulled this out yesterday afternoon because I kept looking through the bag and all I could see was this poor cow just had a floating head. It was a floating head cow. And I said, I've got to do something. So I put some stitches into the cow body. Now I was a little worried. This is originally charted in 3865. And with the other one, this is a part 2 in a series. She has 4 in the series. With the other one, doing it on this fabric, which is an 18 count Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie. Doing it on this fabric, I was a little worried about the white. And so I changed it to be 5200 to make it a little bit brighter. And I was still worried about it on the last stitch, but once it was finished and you had flowers all around the cow and, you know, the cow was finished with the multiple colors, it looked fine. So I felt at ease working on this one with the B5200. So that's what I'm going to do. I have the third one in the series, so I don't know when that'll get stitched, maybe next year. They seem to be one a year. But that's where I happen to have gotten to at this point, and I just feel a little bit better about this poor little cow now that he or she has part of a body. I decided to pull this out because my stitchy friends, Sarah Stitches, I will link her down below, and then Kim J Inspired, I'll link her Instagram down below, are doing a sale. Did I write it down? Oh, you ladies, you're gonna kill me. Stitching Till the Cows Come Home Sal, I think is the hashtag. I will definitely make sure it's the correct hashtag in the description box below. And their idea was to stitch anything with a cow. And so I knew I had these patterns and I said, you know what? I'm gonna jump on board and stitch a cow. So that's where we are right now. All right, so that's my cow. So my cow may or may not get more work. We'll see this week. We'll see as I'm flipping through if I feel bad or if there's something else calling me instead. Okie dokie, let me grab my iPad for the next one. So this is a digital pattern that I have adored stitching. I'm getting there. It's from Croccette Gogo. And it's called Spring Daisies. Well, it's called something else, but I think the translation is Spring Daisies. Isn't that pretty? I just love the border. It's so lacy and delicate, and I'm really enjoying this one. This is the second of their patterns that I have stitched, and I just saw she had a spring one and she just put out a summer. It's like a big scene sort of picture and different parts of what you'd see in spring or summer. I put the summer right into my favorites wish list area on Etsy because I adore it. So at some point that might be in my shopping because I'm really tempted every time I go by it or I go into my wish list area. So this is done on an 18 count Moroccan clay by Color and Cotton. And again, what I'm doing is I'm switching. I had done a lot of the border exclusively, and then I wanted to jump into the flowers. So the last few weeks when I've worked on this, I've done a strand in the border, then I'll do something up here and work back and forth. So I might have the border. I've been working on this one every week, and I will continue on this one because I really like it, and I'd like to see it start to hit near the end. So I have just that little bit left, and then, you know, I have one more flower here plus the insides, and then I think the greenery comes down here a bit. So I'm plugging along. I have a little bit of a ways to go, but it is so pretty. There's something about the delicateness of the border that just makes me, I don't know if happy is the right word, but there's something about it that it's just the prettiness of it that appeals to me. And so I really enjoy looking at this one, which means I enjoy stitching it. So this will keep getting some stitch time this week. My plan for May, if you hadn't heard when I talked about May plans, mania, all that, was I wanted to focus on autumn and Halloween was what my stitches were going to be this month as my new starts. And I, as you'll see with the next piece, bringing back some older ones to put them into the rotation as well. But the one thing I wanted to do goal-wise was even near the end of the month where I'll have multiple starts and brought back pieces, at least one day I would like to stitch on something spring. And right now, one day a week, and this one definitely I think will stay in there until it's finished. And as I have more days, it might be some more spring stuff, but this one is a definite. I do want to keep this one in, and this could be done by the end of May for sure. So that really is my goal with that one. Now this next piece, so that was pretty much all spring and floral. And this next piece kind of jumps into what my May plans were. This is a piece that I brought back. I had started it, I checked last October, and it matches the themes. In fact, it matches my start because it's the same, it's the same designer. So I figured I would like to do them both this month. So this is a Plum Street Samplers, Betsy's Autumn. I've never seen anybody stitching this one. I had seen Cinnamon Stars, and when I was looking, there was something about this that I just really liked, and I bought it, and I ended up starting this one over Cinnamon Stars in October. I can't necessarily tell you why, but I think there's something about the tree that just really was appealing to me. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna start this one, and foreshadow, hint, Cinnamon Stars is finally getting some work done on it too. But let's start with Betsy's Autumn. This is done on an 18 count Honey Amber by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I'm not sure the exact yellows coming out, but you get the point. I thought all the different colors of the browns and the oranges and the yellows in this kind of color palette looked really nice on this. So I decided to work on this. Now, I didn't work any on that border, so I'm gonna fold that over. I find the borders really good if I'm sitting in a car waiting, because you're just going back and forth between the black and the orange. And I did, as I always seem to do with black, I switched out and put anchor black on there. So this is what I have. I extended this branch. I did this entire leaf and then the inside of these. And then I came down here and I worked all on those. I was really interested in starting below here is the row of pumpkins. And I thought, oh, that would be fun to start those. The thing was, I hadn't really paid attention. Like Prairie Schooler, these pumpkins are charted, some of them in a, well, so you've got Weeks that works in Classic Color Works flosses, but she does give DMC alternatives. Great. So I went to go get the DMC alternatives, but the colors for the pumpkins are slated as browns, which is what Prairie Schooler seems to do a lot of times as well. And if you're not gonna be able to see, but like some of these do have kind of, it's obviously variegated floss, but where the variegation is, it's kind of like a funny kind of brown. And I don't want that with my pumpkins. So I've got to go through my flosses and figure out, I probably want a couple different shades of orange. One maybe like a orange spice is the only name I can think of in my head. A spicier sort of deeper orange, and then maybe more of an orangey orange. Probably, well, I don't know if I would do it as bright as the border, but something along those lines. So I have to dig through flosses on that and figure out what I'm gonna do there, because I do want to change the charted colors for the pumpkins. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens with that. But that's fine. I have so much more that I can stitch while I'm worrying about what to do for the pumpkins that it's not like this should hold me up or anything. So looking at that one, this is what I'm currently working on. And my new start, let's pull it on up, is Plum Street Samplers as well, and it's Cinnamon Stars. I'm finally getting Cinnamon Stars done, or started, I should say. Now I did, when I saw these together, see if I can sneak in, I really loved how the colors were different but similar. They're along the same color schemes, and so I kept the same fabric for this one. I pulled up my flosses and did a floss toss, and I liked them on here. So again, as a reminder, this is 18 count Honey Amber from Fabrics by Stephanie. And that's what I got this week. That's my start for the week. Now, as I was stitching, I don't know if I did it, you'll notice there is a slate stain there, but good news, this is all gonna be stitched over. So I don't know if I did it or I just missed it somehow or other, but it's in a perfect spot. It will get completely covered and nobody will ever know, except if you watch this video. This one's just chugging along, doing all the different symbols. Now, only me. Sometimes I don't understand how my brain works. So I was looking at the pattern and different pieces of the pattern, and one of them was an alphabet. And they said, you know, for your personalization or whatever. And I looked at this and I couldn't find it. I'm like, where is it personalized? There's no alphabet. Well, if you kind of look beyond motifs, this is an S. Well, I didn't pay attention to that. I was like, oh, that's a cute little squiggly, squirrely thing, a little different than the elements, and I stitched it. And then when I sat back, I said, oh, that was an S. So I took it all out and took all the stitches out. And I'm not sure I'm going to do an O here. I think what I might do is just pick one of the smaller motifs and plop it in there as well, because there is kind of a space there. So I might make a mini, I don't know if I do one of those because that's more out of the chimney, but I might put something there. We'll see. That's probably gonna wait till the end unless I feel really inspired with something. So I'm just gonna fold them so you can see. The whole idea for me with these was they're really gonna look nice against each other. Now, how they get finished and where they get finished, because I'll be talking about finishing ideas in a moment, is to be determined. But there's a lot of stitching left to do, so it's really not a problem right now. That'll be a problem for 2022, 2023, somewhere along those lines. At that point, I'll have a firmer idea of what's going on. But I'm really enjoying it. You know, all the little motifs are a lot of fun, and I'll just keep working and working my way down. Now, there are pumpkins in here. So what I will do is when I decide what I'm doing for Betsy's Autumn, I will use the same for here. I'm curious if it's the same pumpkin colors charted. They look similar, although these ones, there are some that are a bit more orangey. So, however, I will figure it out, and I will end up putting whatever I choose, because I feel like they're companion pieces in my mind. They'll have the same pumpkin colors. So we'll see where that works. So that's the stitching. What do I plan on starting next week? One for sure that I know, and then I do not know if I'm gonna bring something back. I have to look and see through my pile of projects. If I wanna start more than one, obviously we'll have these two and then some spring. We'll go for, I don't know. But what I know for sure I'm starting, oh, and before I forget, Paula from Stitching in High Heels, I think Paula, I think I'm getting it right, and I'll link her down below, is planning on starting Cinnamon Stars. So now you have to start, Paula, and I can't wait to see. I love how she stitches, so I cannot wait to see what she does with it. So I'm gonna link her somewhere in the box. You'll see if you want to see somebody else stitching this. And if you are stitching it right now at some point and you have an Instagram or you have a Flosstube or anything, let me know. And that way I can link down below stitching it with me. All right, what I am definitely starting is from Little Stitch Girl, Autumn Avenue. So cute. I think, unless something radically changes, I think I'm going to use Snert from Mystic Fabrics. I threw the colors on there and they looked pretty good, and I think the white will show up fine on that. Now I know that Janny is starting this one from Evergreen Stitchers, so I can't wait to see what she's doing. And then I think Sarah from Sarah Stitches said she's gonna do it as well. I think she had ordered it. Her last video she talked about it. I don't know if she had it in yet, but I know she was planning on doing it. So I will link both of them down as well in the description box so you get a chance to see what their stitches look like. But I have never done anything from Little Stitch Girl, so I'm excited to give her designs a try. It looks cute, it looks really fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So that is the definite plans. From there, I don't know, but that's definite. Okay, now, finishing discussion. Let me talk about finishing for a minute. And I won't go too long because I know some of you have different ideas of how you want to finish and you may not be interested in what my ultimate plans are. And that's okay. You know, we all have different styles. But I thought some of you were interested in hearing about what I might be doing with this. So I thought I would talk about it real quick. So this is a lot. We are definitely minimalist when it comes to decor in our house. Down in Delaware, when I actually have furniture, like we don't have any built-ins. We only had so much money when we built the house. The mantle will have, my husband's already claimed that for the TV, so there will be no mantle to decorate. There's not, what we'll get for furniture will not be a ton of things to put things, to be quite honest with you. And so I love stitching and I don't plan on stopping stitching. I should have brought you my pile. I meant to bring it to show you my big pile of what I have at the moment. And some things I have plans for that'll definitely be finished for the house, like the key piece. And I do want to do little minis and get some sort of maybe like small tabletop tree that would be seasonal, and that would be kind of my seasonal sort of decorations. But I have a ton of stuff otherwise, and so what to do with it, rather than just having it sit in a box. And so I've decided I'd like to do some sort of stitchy journal, album, scrapbook, you name it, however you want to name it. And I know some of you talked about that would be really interesting too, because some things you like stitching, but they don't fit your decor, or you just don't have room or space, or you don't know what to do with it. And so that might be an idea for you as well. So I brought some different ideas and choices of ways you could, the journals, scrapbooks, however you want to do it. If you ever watched Bendy Stitchy, Michelle Garrett, she has a journal that, I don't know if it was gifted to her or she bought it. It's a handmade journal. And the person basically created the signatures, the pages in between, and you can get lots of those on Etsy if you wanted to buy one. There are lots of tutorials on YouTube if you'd like to try to make one. I've seen people use scrapbooks, and that's a great way too. Like you already have it, you know, you just open up the page and do whatever, and that's a way you can do it as well. These are some other ideas. This one happens to be, and it depends on the size. This is what, maybe like a 6x8. Now the pages on here would be, the only thing you'd want to be careful is they are rip-away pages. So what I would do is you could use like pretty washi tape if you wanted to make sure that they did not rip out, of course, or you could even cover this page with paper, like scrapbook paper or something, and I would cover over it. The one thing I also do when I do kind of journals is I attach multiple pages together, because there's no way a book this size, it would be too bulky. So what I would do is I would probably take 2 or 3 pages, glue them together, and that becomes your one page. So it's more substantial. It would keep those areas now attached because there's tape on each of them, and you could just go for it. This size might be really good for smalls if you wanted to do something. And it's really easy to decorate a front, throw some scrapbook paper on it, or you could even put stitching on it, which is another idea. When I was doing, I've done traditional scrapbooking when my kids were little, and then I kind of got out of that and I was doing more of like junk journal style. Composition notebooks. Remember when they used to cost 25 cents a pop? Sometimes I think I got them for 10 cents a pop. I still have some because I bought so many at the time. These are great as well. And these you definitely attach 2 to 3 pages. Now this, it's mostly just one vacation I journaled and scrapbooked. So I have a whole bunch of empty here. If you don't like this look, it might not be for you. I love this kind of bulky look for me, so I'd have no problem if I want to use one of these. And I would probably attach at least 3 together and give it a lot more strength. You throw in some ribbon. I just put some paper on the front. I never really decorated it, but it would be super easy to plop something there. And then there's lots you can do. You're not stuck with it being a composition notebook. Let me show you a few things. So this one here, I just dry brushed some paint here, and then these are watercolor papers, and I watercolored them, and I probably used, that green might be kind of like a glitter sort of paint, which you can't really tell. And then a little bit of cardstock if you want to add something underneath. So that, what I'm thinking with my stitching is I would like to put interfacing behind it. It stiffens it up a little bit, plus it's something for me to adhere tape or glue or whatever, probably tape of some sort, because that's what I'm used to doing. I went down a rabbit hole this week on Amazon of the 20,000 different types of Plum interfacing, and I have no idea which one to use, because when you read the reviews, you hear so many different things that you don't know what you're supposed to do. So if you have an interfacing that you use on the back of your cross stitch, could you let me know which one? I want the iron on, just iron it on and good to go. And then I can treat them almost like they are photos. It would protect the stitches and it would keep them from being attached to any sort of glue or anything. So that is one. Another really fun thing you could take if you wanted to highlight your stitch with not a lot, take a black page. This just happens to be like one of those, you know, white gel sort of pens. And then you could just either draw something, put something, and just label it however you want. And that's a focus for it. I think this one's a watercolor that I just watercolored. Then these are watercolored. I have a stamp, and then I have a die cut. Really easy just to add some things. This last one, it's 2 different pages, same sort of theme. This one I dry brushed paint on it. This one was scrapbook paper. So depending on what you wanted to do, and these pages, even though it's a composition notebook and they aren't necessarily the strongest, there's no problem with this. I have nothing that's ripped. You could even take, washi tape if you wanted to. I don't think I did it on here. And if you were doing one of them, you could put that in there and kind of tape it. That would be pretty, and go with some sort of design and then put something else over it. I think I've even at times just done right onto the page. Just happened to be. So that's another option. And this is most definitely intriguing me for a journal. It's just whether or not this size is big enough, because some of the pieces will be bigger. So I may do themed journals. I might have multiple ones. We'll see. If you want to go really big, there's a couple options. It depends on the binding you want. So you have like your visual journals, multimedia, mixed media, and the traditional ones, you just have this right here, and then you can just do your pages, and you can do whatever you want on the pages. And this happens to be a 9x12. I have 2 that are 9x12s. The other one is, got a little banged up in the package. I had gotten it from Amazon, which it should be packaged in something else if they're gonna throw it in a package. This is another multimedia, whatever you wanna say, journal. With this one, it's almost got like a cardboardy cover. It does have an envelope if you wanted to stick things in it. And then the inside is not spiral bound, it's regular, and you can do that as well. So that's an option. I haven't decided how I want the binding to be, what size I want to do. And again, I may end up doing multiple ones, because I would say a good portion of my stitching will probably end up more in journals than it will in my house. And I think my husband was teasing me about that journal I bought, and I said, well, I could just put that all over the house. And he's like, nope, no thank you. So that would be a way. And what I could see too, you take something like this and you could put like a stitching piece right on here, maybe with some batting, and then attach it, and it would be a really lovely front. And you could keep it out, and it's something you could look at and have it almost like a coffee table book, which would be a lot of fun too to have. So stay tuned. We'll see. Hopefully next week I might be away, so I wouldn't get anything done because all of my supplies would be here in Connecticut. But as I'm starting to think and finish and really come up with an idea of what I want to do, I will show you as I'm going. Okay, so that's the whole discussion about finishing in a completely different way than putting it out for decor of some sort, if you're looking for something else. And let's chat if you are. I'd love to see what you're doing, and let's bounce ideas off each other. I think it would be a lot of fun. And you could have, some people say, okay, I don't really decorate for seasons, but I like doing the stitches. Well, you could do a Halloween book or a whatever book, if you just wanted to, or a specific theme of stitches you really like but you don't see decorating with. They can all go in some sort of journal or album or however you wanted to look at it. All right, shopping, the tiniest of shopping. I have one piece, that's it. This is the April 2021 Fabric of the Month from Color & Cotton. Since we are in May, I think it's safe to show this, and it's called Succulent. There's three things with Color & Cotton. There's an any color, there's a neutral, and then there's a brights. I think I went with the any color. So you never know what you're gonna get. This is definitely on the gray family. It's funny though, if you look at it at a certain light, it does have a green tinge to it. It reminds me a little bit of Through the Stones from the Stitch Me, if you know what that looks like. I'd be curious to put the two against each other. Not identical, but it definitely has that green tinge to the gray. So depending on the light, I could see why they called it Succulent. So that's it. That's it for shopping. That's all I got. I don't even know if I have anything coming. I might have to get that pattern from Croccette Gogo, that summer pattern. I love that one so much. Giveaways. So I am all caught up, yay, on all the old giveaways. So thank you to all of you who reached out and got a hold of me with your address. So this week's giveaway was Let Your Heart Sing, a cute little pattern from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. And let me pick a name. Pull one out here out of my, I want to make sure that everybody gets a fair shot. So I'm trying to separate them as I go. Okay, who do I have? Marla A. Marla, I think you were one of my very first commenters way back when with some of my first videos. So Marla, if you could send me your address and I will send you out this pattern. You can either Gmail it to me, or the address is down below, or you can send me a message on Instagram, which is also listed down below, and I will send that out to you. If I go away, it might be tomorrow, so it might be a week before I send it out, but I promise I'm good for it. I will send it. This week, we're going with the May theme that I've got of either autumn or Halloween, and this week's giveaway is a Halloween piece. It's a cute little Plum Street. It looks a little older, actually. I don't know. 2009, so it is a little older. It's called Hare's Halloween. How cute is that? It is charted, actually, I looked, in NPI silks and also a DMC conversion. So you know me, I'd be converting that and doing it. Well, I don't even have to, they converted it. I'd be doing DMC. But super cute, the little bunnies and a little Halloween parade-ish sort of thing. So that's the pattern. If you'd like to be put in, you have your name be put in for the giveaway, two things. One, answer a question, and two, say a word. And answer the question, but just don't say the word if you'd like to just chat with me, because you know I do like that too. This one is a stitching related one. Last week wasn't so much. This week, my question is easy. Are you doing any sort of special stitching for May? Or are you just doing your regular plans? I myself, you know, I'm doing Halloween and autumn, 1 to 2 starts a week. Are you planning on doing just one piece the entire month? Are you just doing your regular rotation? Tell me what your plans are. How are you stitching May this year? And if you'd like to be entered into the giveaway for the Hare's Halloween, just say the word Plum for Plum Street Samplers, the word Plum in your comment anywhere. It doesn't have to be part of a sentence. It's really cute when some of you do that, but you could also just stick it at the beginning or the end. It doesn't matter. And yeah, let me hear about your stitching. I'd be curious to see what everybody else is doing this month and what your plans are and so on and so forth. So that's that. All right. If that's all I have left is life, which is good that some of this was short because I chatted about the journals a little bit. If you don't want to hear about life stuff, then thank you so much for joining me this week. And I will see you next week when I'll have some new starts, hopefully, to show you. Life-wise, not a ton going on. So a couple weeks ago, I had told you about Megan was getting to play one game this season. What I forgot to mention then the following week was that we got a notice on Friday, or a call on Friday from Megan, and she said, you know, we were all tested for COVID and there was a positive test that came back. So because of protocols, they had to cancel the game. And there were quarantines and there was this and there was that because obviously, you know, contact and stuff. So luckily everybody's okay. And Megan was not positive. She was not a positive test, but which just makes me feel better. I know that, you know, most of these kids are gonna be fine, but you know, as being away from her and hearing it, it just made me feel a little bit better. And she was tested, you know, they kept following up with a lot of these kids because they practiced together and whatever. And she was tested multiple times and she was negative all the time. So I was like, yay, okay, good. But anyway, so this weekend, this was a game they had created one to honor, you know, to have the seniors get a chance to play once during their senior season. So instead, what they're going to do is they have enough kids to do an inter-squad game. So they have Team A and Team B, and they are playing this afternoon, and they are streaming it, yay. So us parents get a chance to see it, and they get a chance to honor the seniors a little bit and give them a little bit of a send-off and a thank you for their dedication and support for 4 years playing the sport. So that is super exciting, and I'm looking forward to being able to watch that this afternoon. So those are my afternoon plans. I may or may not be going to Delaware this week. To be determined, we'll see, but I might be feeling the need to get away for a little bit, so that might be happening, and that will obviously change my plans for the week if I am wherever I happen to be. Other than that, just getting ready. Going through all the gazillion forms you have to do for a graduating senior. They need, you know, permission slips, and then are you getting a lawn sign? Are you doing this or that? And prom tickets and graduation party, you know, all the stuff the school does. So I have a list a mile long of things I'm trying to check off and do so that it's all taken care of. So we will see. We'll see what happens with that. But that's about it, really. Not a lot more. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are getting some fun stitching in this May, whatever your plans are. We happen to have, I apologize if you happen to hear the yard work. The house across from me, diagonally from me, and next to us uses the same lawn people, and they happen to come this morning, the exact time I'm taping. So I heard all of the droning of the mowers and this and that. I hope it wasn't too, I hope when I listen back, it's not this really loud noise. I hope it wasn't too intrusive, but you know, you work with what you can, and when you have lawns, there's always yard noise somewhere or other. Doesn't really matter, day or night, somebody is doing something in their yard. But that's about it. I hope you're well. I hope you are safe. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and just whatever you happen to be doing, I hope it is lovely. And I'm thinking of you and stitching with you. And until next time, happy stitching.